Hey, welcome back to the Rock Fantasy Files. Tonight we're talking about one of our favorite albums. If it's not one of your favorite albums, maybe you shouldn't be watching this episode. This is the box set that came out a couple years ago. We're going to be talking about Black Sabbath Sabotage that came out. So we're setting the time machine back to 1975 to discuss, of course, one of the greatest albums of all time. 50th anniversary this year. It's a sixth studio album by Sabbath, released on July 28th in 75. Of course, the album's recorded in the midst of a legal battle with the band's former manager, Patrick Meehan, and that's why it's called Sabotage, pretty much. Most people know the notes. Ralph said not to read the whole all my notes about it, to just get started. And Chris Aloe's got a couple things to say about the record, I guess, to kick it off. But I'm going to introduce everybody that's here. We got Obie, our regular guy from Norway, stays up all night with the black curtains behind him. We got Denny Barth from our Bigfoot from the mighty Sasquatch from the band Aggression up there in Canada, who's traveling all around the world. Last week he was in Egypt with the pyramids. Of course, we got James Delisle from Crucial Pain and Discondat Records in Connecticut. We got the mighty Chris Aloe, as they say in Europe. The mighty Chris Aloe is here from the Sea of Tranquility channel. Wrote for Metal Maniacs, wrote for all the magazines back in the day. We got Tommy Cap from Into the Void, the drummer from the great Into the Void Sabbath tribute. We've got Count Ralphus. We've got Ed Farsley. We've got Richard Johnson as one of our special guests tonight. Richard, of course, worked with Sabbath, was friends with Bill Ward, did a lot of a couple of the Ozfests. If you watch the other episode a few weeks ago, he was on. We also just taped an episode with Richard talking about his adventures with the band. We got Tony Dio and someone else, another special guest. We have Stephen Desco, who actually recently performed with Into the Void at the Rock Fantasy 39th anniversary. Stephen, tell us what other bands you know and what you do.
I do the Land of Oz. It's been about 10 years on that. We have Matt Stanley, Mike Stanley, and Nate Stanley now, father and two sons. Fantastic. We just sold 836 at the Riviera. That was fantastic. Coming up August 6th, Wednesday night, is Sabbath Superstars. I borrowed the entire Into the Void band. I'll be singing for them. And we're going to do Daryl's house.
Okay,
So
that's up by us.
if you're at all close to that, we have Daryl's house, and we have at the Landis Theater on Sabbath Superstars on August 16th with Obey Your Master, which is a Metallica tribute. So we got some stuff going on with Sabbath Superstars. It's called It's a New Thing. Just Sabbath kind of split up. So I recruited out of Into the Void because those guys are freaking awesome. Tommy Cap is a beast, and he did Zabracadabra, which is excellent. And I do Ultimate Live Evil, which is a Ronnie James Dio show. And I'll branch it off into a rainbow set with Graham Bonnet and Joe Lynn Turner. So there's some tape of that floating around from the Landis Theater also. So I've been up to that bag of tricks.
Wow, awesome. Well, it's an honor to have you on the show tonight. So Chris Allen can't stay for the whole episode. And and Chris is going to kick this thing off tonight.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Thanks for having me on, Steve. A pleasure to be on such an esteemed panel here. Steve asked a question, what does Black Sabbath Sabotage mean to me? I am a pretty big Black Sabbath fan. I would say to me, it is the end of an era. I think the Sabotage album and tour really really ended the unbeatable streak of the original Black Sabbath. I feel that the first six, I should say, Sabbath albums are all masterpieces. You can certainly argue which one is the best. My personal favorite is not Sabotage, but you wouldn't be wrong if Sabotage was your personal favorite. I mean, with tracks like Hole in the Sky, Symptom in the Universe, The Writ. I mean, it's amazing stuff. But I feel as a Sabbath fan that, yeah, they took a big drop off on the next album. which was Technical Ecstasy. And despite what Steve Keeler says, the band Black Sabbath and Pete Pardo and myself do not like Never Say Die. I feel like Never Say Die, they completely went off the edge and they broke up as soon as the tour was over. So yeah, to me, it's Sabotage is an amazing record, and it's the end of an era. I like that it's proggy somewhat, like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. But the band was, as Steve mentioned, they were having issues legally. They spent a ton of time in the studio. So yeah, while it has some of the prog elements of Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, the band were angry, and they tend to push them into a darker and heavier direction on this record than they did on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I think it's a great record, and yeah, for me, it's the end of an era.
Excellent. And what else can we say about this album? It's just to me, my first exposure to this record when I got it as a teenager. I mean, I'm 64 years old now. I got this record probably right about when it came out. My first Sabbath that I ever got was Master Reality. A friend of mine picked on me because I was listening to R&B and like top 40. He's like, "What do you listen to this stuff for?" He's like, "Here's a Alice Cooper record. Here's a Black Sabbath record." So I was ready for this kind of when it came out. And I used to just sit there and listen to this record over and over. And a lot of people don't like this album cover. I love this album cover for some reason. I thought it was just like mysterious. Like, who are these people? This guy with the red pants with Bill Ward, of course, and Ozzy Osbourne's in this kimono, and then this other guy that's sitting like Indian style on the floor. I used to just listen to this over and over again. So I guess I went out of turn and I went second. But I mean, the Rip is such a great song. Of course, he's singing about that manager ripping him off in it, and I like Thrill It All, Superstar, Hole in the Sky, Symptom of the Universe. Did that almost invent thrash metal, that song?
I think it's not writing it.
Hell yeah.
I guess talking. It's just such a great album. So I guess that's my point of view on it also. And why don't I go over to our special guest to kick it off next? I'm going to go and order it around each person once. And of course, butt in if you got something to add to the conversation. Let's go over to Stephen Desco.
Somebody's got to mute themselves. Somebody's making noise in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody's old lady is talking in the back.
Oh, wow, okay. Dude. I thought I heard something.
I'm going to boogie, Steve.
Let me go out,
Chris. All right.
See you, Chris.
Take care.
You're
see you
right.
later. Cheers.
I didn't know it was picking that up. Hold on a second. I'm going to get in the woods. Hold on a second. All right, I'm going.
Get in the woods.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go in the woods. I hope I don't step on anything gross. All right, here I am. All right, if you can't see me, whatever. So I'm in the woods now.
I'll ask you two questions. I'm going to ask you what it means to you, and I want to ask you, since you perform Black Sabbath, what songs do you like performing the most from this record?
Okay. I really enjoyed. Let me get near fucking some light here. I'll go in this room. This will be better.
I can see
away from the window.
We can see you.
I can't believe you couldn't even hear that. That was funny. All right, I'll go in with the cats. All right, we're good. All right. So anyway, Hole in the Sky. Oh, by the way, I wore the red pants at a Dio show, and I did a reenactment of the song Stars by Hearing Aid with 6 guitar players, a keyboard player, and like 5 singers. So just saying, the red pants do fucking rock. And I love doing Symptom of the Universe with the hippie ending. And me and Into the Void, we do some kind of like Ian Gillan, Blackmore guitar shit with it, me and Matt Dillon. Not to be confused with the famous actor, and we couldn't get Leif Garrett or Rick Springfield, so we have Matt Dillon and Into the Void.
That's true. That's true.
I love it. I love the fucking ending of Symptom. I mean, the whole thing's great, but the groovy hippie ending is fucking fun as shit. And every time I listen to A Hole in the Sky in my car really fucking loud, I think my radio broke at the end. So that's what the album means to me. You always look at your shit when that song ends. Like, what the fuck happened there? It's not a clean ending on that, but and then they got the attack, the engineer going attack in the beginning is pretty fucking awesome. But love it, man. Good shit.
Where do
That's-
you rank this album against the other Sabbath catalog?
It's top 3 or 4
Okay.
flex. You know, it's definitely in there.
Awesome.
Definitely. It's got you know, I smoke weed. I quit drinking 10 years ago. I'm California sober. I like edibles. And I was listening to it today to get ready for the show. And I was fucking smoking a joint. It was pretty fucking awesome. Pretty solid, trippy album. Stay crunchy and milk. It's good shit.
Awesome. All right.
That's my review.
Cool. Well,
Stays
I'm gonna
crunchy.
head over.
Like the Land of Oz and like Sabbath Superstars and like Ultimate Live Evil. We're playing everywhere and hope to play in a neighborhood near you guys and you know, say hi. I answer my own stuff. So, you know, don't be a stranger. If you got shows coming up, let me know.
We will definitely be checking you guys out, and Tom's gonna make me if I don't.
That's
We're
right.
gonna crush this. We're gonna make it sexy.
Oh, yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
let's go all the way from whether you're in Pennsylvania or New Jersey.
I'm in Media, PA.
All right, we're going from
20
Pennsylvania.
minutes.
We're going to the Canadian Northwest to talk to my good friend Denny Barth.
Danny?
Yeah,
Hey,
sorry,
Denny.
guys.
Are you in the fire? Are you safe from
like-
the fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sabotage, so try to transport yourself in 1975 with whatever, think about the vibe of 1975 and what people might think when they put fucking Symptom of the Universe on.
Mhm.
Must have scared the shit out of a lot of people.
Mhm.
Like, it's I don't know, like when I think of Sabotage right away, I think of Symptom of the Universe, and it's the fucking riff and the sound. Um, I in my own head, and nobody really cares, but I'm always having this kind of like battle of like which one is my favorite Sabbath album. And it always, circles around Master of Reality someday. Someday it's Volume 4. Some days I'm like Evan and L Mob Rule's the best thing they ever did. Some days like I keep switching from album to album, but Sabotage is weird. It's a weird album. There's some weird stuff on there. Um, All in the Sky is heavy as fuck. Like it's so heavy. And then Symptom of the Universe, like I mean, I I think I was probably like it probably would have been 76 or 77 when the first time I heard that album. And my cousins who introduced me to everything I know used to play it in their basement with a bunch of girls there, which I will always try to go there to hang out with the ladies. But the first time I heard that song, like, what the fuck is this? And then they gave me the record, and I'm looking at the dudes on the album, and like the red pants and like the hip. Iommi looks like a cool dude, right? Like, so why are they playing such like angry music? Yeah, and I just read today that Bill Ward's red pants were actually his wife
Yes.
tights actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, I think like Sabotage is probably like after it's kind of like an extra step in the writing of ability of the band. Like there's a lot of things on this album, especially like on the Thrill of It All, when they go into like a orchestral section of the songs, you can see that vibe being reproduced later on Evan and L, or even on the Mob Rules, Country Girls, and things like that. They go into these sections that are breakdown that are supposed to be transition from one section to the solo, but they do it so brilliantly and it is so good because they use it's almost like they're writing with zero restrictions. They just go whatever their mind like push them into, and they just go into it. So like so that album, like most of my youth, and I did mention many times that I was not super mature when it comes to music. Um, I would put Sabotage, and most of the time, I'd just go straight to Symptom of the Universe. And even when the funky part at the end would kick in, I used to take it off because that was not heavy for me. Now that I'm like almost 60, I fucking appreciate that part of the song, right? But it also, like, as I got older and start to dig into the album, I did appreciate the mastery of like Megalomania has such good hooks
Oh,
and good riffs in there that just like catch you by surprise. And the riff, super crazy. And of course, like when I was younger, My Going Insane was not interesting to me, or like I didn't understand why are you doing this to me? Why can I not have like some heavy riff and instead of but in the end, like if you look into it again, it's good melodies, good, it's well written. There's good music in the background. So there's no really moment in this album that you're really like disappointed. Um, I like Super Tsar as a like instrument, same as like Don't Start. Two little guitar part right before to set up Symptom of the Universe. I think it's brilliant. So I think to me, that album kind of like did teach me that you can do whatever the fuck you want when you're writing a song. There should be any restriction. And if somebody tells you like, hey, that doesn't fit in or something like that, well, it's your music, so you do whatever you want. But I think the band was definitely getting a little bit more proggy. They had a keyboardist on tour and things like that. I couldn't believe that Kiss opened for them on that tour. Completely missed that. Never were aware of this. But yeah, Sabotage, I think it's for me, it's just a reminder that you can do whatever you want. And if it comes from the heart and you really follow what you want to do, it's gonna come out good. And this album, there's so many good moments. The production of it is better than Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And Tony Iommi work on the sound like hours and hours and hours, he said. So that's it. But I also, when I listen to this album and Symptom of the Universe, I'm always trying to transport myself in 75 and be like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? This is not the this is not the Carpenters.
No,
That's
it's
it.
not.
cool.
Yeah, man.
Let's now we're going to travel down to Atlanta, Georgia, and talk with our other special guest, Richard Johnson, who is a friend with Bill Ward's, and we just had a great episode. We're going to be putting that up on the channel. I don't know if it'll be up before this one comes up on the channel or after, but keep a lookout for that. We're with Chris Aloe and Richard chatting about Sabbath and touring with bands. And welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, sabotage is, yeah, what it means to me. I mean, it's cool. I think it's a weird paradox for me because it has some of my favorite Black Sabbath things ever, which, Hole in the Sky and Symptom and Megalomania and the Writ. I mean, those are like top of the Ozzy, or the Writ to me is Ozzy's pinnacle with Black Sabbath. He sounds so, his voice could cut glass on that. He's so pissed off because, like you're saying, they were writing it about the legal issues and getting ripped off. But it has the one song that I can't listen to anymore. And I pulled this record out the other day and listened to it, and Am I Going Insane? Right? I hate that song so much. If I wasn't a record if I wasn't a record collector and wanted to keep my stuff in plastic and in rice paper sleeves, I would drag a knife across that song so I never had to listen to it again. But I literally hate that freaking song, man, with every fiber of my being. And I put the record on the other day, and side one was like, oh my God, some big, bombastic, perfect record. And put side two on, love it. And then it got to that song, Am I Going Insane? And I was like, I had to run over and pick up the needle. It was like, I just hate that. It's something about the frequency, the laughter, the whatever it is. But the Writ, the one after it is like, again, back to perfection for Sabbath, and
Yeah.
it's like his voice never sounded. I mean, to me, that good again until Diary of a Madman. But we all have our opinions. But yeah, it's the artwork was freaky, and it still stands the test of time. I like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath better as a complete record. I don't have to scratch or anything, but it's Master Reality is obviously the heaviest one, but they're all really good, and it just to me it depends on what kind of mood you're in. Sometimes I get in the mood to just listen to the first album, but I don't know. You can't go wrong with Sabotage, and it's like it stands the test of time, and it's the production is really cool with the acoustic guitars, and the drums are perfect, and the bass is perfect. Better lyrics. The lyrics are great, and I don't know. It's just stand. It's the end bookmark for that classic run they had. I do like Technical Ecstasy, and I do like Never Say Die. I like
Yes.
Johnny Blade is one of my favorite songs, and Dirty Women is one of my favorite songs. So I don't ever uh, hate on those records, but this one did have the end of the road vibe for those four
Mm.
people, and but yeah, yeah. To me, it's another great Sabbath album, but it does contain the one song I can't listen to. So
I was happy to see when I was watching. I'm looking at the posters on the wall behind you, Richard, and I do see a nice "Never Say Die" poster on the wall. So Chris Allen's not here now. He don't
that's
like "Never Say Die." I love "Never Say Die." I did an album. I did an episode with John Gaffney on the Lair of Alchemist with John McAtee from Incantation in defense of "Never Say Die." And
right.
Tom
Yeah,
knows I always
exactly.
try to make him play a couple songs, and then sometimes Johnny Brullo will scratch him off. But last time he did them, and he did them
Yeah,
for me. So thank
yeah,
and
he
we
did.
did
Well,
Johnny. You guys did Never Say Die and Johnny Blade that night, and
yeah,
yeah,
I love that album, and the production is weird. It's a weird guitar tone. It's the only album Tony's tone is that sort of
yeah.
rusty. It's just a weird tone, but the reason I got the poster. I do always I love it, but I had a massive Sabbath collection that I liquidated after a heart attack,
Okay.
and I downsized. And I kept some things, but I sold a lot of things. And that poster is a promo poster from Warner Brothers, and in the clouds you might could see it on vinyl, but in that poster you can clearly see a person in the clouds. And I'd sent it to Bill Ward to get autographed in like 90, and I put a sticky pad on it, and I said, Bill, who the hell is this guy? And I drew an arrow to the guy in the clouds, and he signed it. I have no idea, and he exclamation marks. And so I kept the poster still has the sticky pad on it from 1990. So
Oh.
it's like because Bill responded, I figured he'd just rip that off or something. But
Mm.
so yeah, that's that's why I got the poster. But I do love the record. But yeah, you had to downsize. I built a house, and I have less room now. But you can
Mhm.
see a room here behind me. It's still more than most people probably have. So
Hey,
but yeah,
well, you on the last episode you just did, you showed us that basketball jersey. Maybe you ought to show it to this with the whole crew. That'd be cool if you still got
yeah,
a.
I could do that. Yeah, sure.
They actually gave him a basketball jersey when he was touring with well, was that when you were with Heaven and
Awesome.
Hell?
Cool.
Oh shit, that's cool.
It's the
Oh,
NBA there, and
That's cool. Wow.
Wow, that's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, that like I said, it would be great in a double-sided glass frame where you could see it, but I don't know,
mhm.
it's just too big. I don't know.
Sure.
I do have. Bill gave me this. See if you can get this in the camera. It's a drum
Wow.
head.
Oh wow.
Wow,
H drum
Killer.
hit.
Um,
nice.
No, yeah, I see it.
this is a bass drum head, and Bill, when they started the '05 tour, Remo sent that out, and Bill only had two requests: that Henry be black the writing on it be black, and the Tama logo was to be smaller. It wasn't to overshadow the Henry or whatever. So he had two of those shipped to him in rehearsals in San Bernardino, and then he immediately said, "No, I'm not going to use them. It's red, and the Tama logo was too big." So he had two, and he was going to ship them to charity to do. He does a lot of charity work, and Bill was going to have those auctioned off for charity. And I was just like, they knew I was a big collector of Sabbath, and Bill, we had a relationship since like '89, and so I mean, I was totally unbeknownst to me, totally not expected, and totally not, damn sure not asked for. And Tech came up to me with a big box one day, and he said this, and I took it out of a cardboard box, and the bass drum head was in it, signed to me, and dated in San Bernardino 2004. Anyway, so one went to charity, sold for God knows how much, and the other one came to me. So
Nice.
yeah,
Cool.
Very cool.
Don't you have a Sabotage autograph by everybody or something that you say? Yeah. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Ozzy inscribed it. What was I thinking? Yeah,
this,
yeah. He actually he wrote, "What was I thinking?" The rest of them just signed it, but yeah, that's I got that one and the first one, and Master Reality signed by those four, and
nice.
yeah, the rest are like oddball. A couple of people here, one person, but I do have the Dio stuff and a Born Again. But yeah, those as far as Ozzy, I pulled that out since I thought we were going to be talking about it. But
No, that's awesome.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
yeah, it's still. I had a lot more records, and I think when I started downsizing the Sabbath stuff, I had I think it was like 26 copies of Master Reality. Cause I don't know if you realize when they're released overseas, like Brazil, like here it was purple, but overseas it was different colors. Like some of it's white. In Japan, it was white on black, white lettering. In Brazil, it was like yellow, red, and green. Before Pride Month, people used the different colors for other things,
Yeah.
and it's just weird. But some different. Like I still do have my original Vertigo UK press, and I have a few, but I don't. I just like I don't need 25 copies of the same record anymore. Oh
Yeah, you do.
no, there's some records
Tony,
I
do
do
you
have.
have 26 copies? I mean, Chris Aloe's going already, but Chris has a bunch of copies of everything too.
No, I sure don't.
No,
I liquid it. I mean,
I only have
the only
25.
the only band I got that many copies, not that many, but like Sad Wings of Destiny, I do have a lot of that one, and it's a few Motorhead like Orgasmatron, but usually I don't have that many copies anymore. But
cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for
But yeah, so yeah, the record does mean a lot to us, but to me it's just another original band, it's just another great record. I really don't like any of them more than the others. I mean, really at my age, I'm basically 60, and I mean, I don't ever rank, like I don't really care for any of them. I mean, if I had to pick one, it would be Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. But I mean, I like them. They're all like your children. I think you end up loving them all equally. Just different days of the week.
Sure. In the mood to listen to one of them one week or one day, you get one song in your head. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks, Richard. And
thank you.
Who am I going to go see next? How about we do the drummer of Into the Void next, and then we'll cook around and get to our regulars on the channel. Not that Denny wasn't a regular, but Denny's probably going to be. Where are you going to be next week? Pakistan or? Oh, and talking about the red pants. And he also said he had Ozzy Osbourne's underwear on in the picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that documentary. If you guys have seen that documentary on YouTube, it goes into all that. It's
Yeah, I watched
really
that
well,
last week.
very well
We
done.
were doing it last week. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom, what's this album mean to you, and Matt, same question for Stephen. What songs do you really dig to perform or do perform off of it?
Well, first off, I just want to say I never wear this color shirt, but I wore it tonight in honor of Bill Ward's pants. Always black. Tonight I wore this color for Bill. As far as this record, definitely their angriest album that they ever put out. It's definitely shows what the band was going through at the time they wrote it, because they're definitely pissed off here, no doubt. Being in Black Sabbath tribute bands since the early 90s, I think I've played every song on this record except Am I Going Insane?
That's good.
Can you tell me?
That's for you, Rich.
Thank you.
Haven't played that one. Superstar we always open with on a track.
Sure.
Just because that's what Sabbath did, so we do that. I got Don't Start Too Late on a track. Sometimes we used to play Hole in the Sky and go right into Symptom, and I would play Don't Start Too Late like off of a track, just like to go right in succession. So that was like pretty cool. But yeah, I'm playing all these songs live, just seeing people's reaction to going into the Writ or Thrill of It All or Megalomania. It's just it's awesome. It's not a lot of bands play these songs, and having had the opportunity to play it was just phenomenal, man. It's like I said, their angriest, heaviest record. And if you play into a room full of Sabbath freaks and pull one of these songs out of your ass, they're gonna fucking respond, man. It's all I can say, because they appreciate that you learned it and that it sounds good and it's a great song,
So
great song.
I have an idea for you guys. Since it's the 50th anniversary, sometime this year, maybe you should just do a gig where you're doing the album in its entirety. But then Richard is going to have to go to the bathroom when you do the Insane song.
I'm glad you said that, because bringing up the new band with Steve on vocals, Sabbath Superstars, we're going to be doing all full records. The first show we're doing at Daryl's house, which everybody in Middletown, please come. I know it's a Wednesday, but you won't be sorry. We're doing the first record in its entirety for that show, and we're going to do like hits and stuff like other songs after that for the other set. But that's pretty much the first show for Sabbath Superstars.
Nice.
You don't want to miss this band. It's all of Into the Void minus John Brullo with Steve on vocals. If you've never seen Steve, man, this guy is Ozzy to a T.
He
Looks
does look
like
a little like him.
like him. Funny as hell on stage. The guy's he's a triple threat, man. I mean, unbelievable. All his other bands are phenomenal, and we're lucky to be playing with him, man. We're gonna have a great band here. It's like a Sabbath super group.
I'm going to put it on my calendar, and hopefully a few of us from Ralph, I'll have to pick Ralph up and go, and maybe James can meet us over there that night.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome, man.
And Obie, he can fly in from Norway.
All right.
Maybe come visit.
We'll do a Facebook Live for him out there. He can still chime in when he wants and take.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hi,
But, great record. Hey, what's going on there, Christy? I saw your arm pop in.
That was the one that was yapping with her girlfriend earlier. Sorry, fellas.
Christy's a huge part of Sabbath Superstars. She has a booking agency called Clockwork Productions. Okay. They're awesome too, and she does a lot of the booking for Steve when the other agents aren't, and she's getting us some work too. But Sabbath Superstars isn't like really going to be playing like little bars and clubs. We're aiming high just for like Daryl's house. We're doing a show. We're doing this amazing show coming up at this theater in Vineland, New Jersey. Right, it's called the Landis. It's a Metallica tribute. is going to play Master of Puppets, and Sabbath Superstars are playing Master of Reality.
Nice.
So it's like Steve came up with this idea, the Masters of Metal.
Yeah, the Master, yeah.
Cool. Both of those two records are going to get played in full at the theater. It's going to be unfreaking real, man.
So Tom, before we move on to the next guest, where do you rank this album in the Sabbath catalog?
Man, I just want to say when I'm pissed off about something, I definitely can't listen to it. I'll tell you that much.
No.
But just like Steve had said, it's definitely in like the top 4 for me, man. No doubt.
Okay.
Definitely in the top 4. I mean, some days I think Sabbath Bloody's my favorite. And then the next day I'm like, no way, Master Reality's my favorite record, man. And then all of a sudden, like, I'll like listen to the first record and realize when that album came out, like there was nothing like that in, ever, man, in that time period. It was like you had like Grand Funk and Zeppelin and the first Sabbath record. That was it back then. Everything else was like Turtles and the Mamas and the Papas and shit.
Yeah, they saw Zeppelin come out with one, and they said we're going to be heavier than that.
Exactly. I heard that story. That's a great story, man.
Yeah.
Love that. But yeah, that's my take. I'd say top 3 or 4. And what a piece of just genius on vinyl this record is, man.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you. And I'm going to go all the way from New Jersey to Connecticut and talk with Mr. James Delisle, because he's probably got something to say.
I've always got something to say. I've got a big fucking mouth.
I was reading the comments on like episode a week or two ago, and they're like, we didn't really like James as much. We thought he was a loudmouth, but now we really like him.
I saw that, and I appreciate that comment. I forget the dude who said that. But that's very fucking cool.
So what's your take on this record? What's it mean?
So yeah, going back for the past couple weeks and listening to this made me realize that I don't listen to this album quite enough. I'm a huge Sabbath guy. This is like the band that I learned how to play music to and was a big fan of as a teenager. And I remember sitting with a buddy of mine, smoking some great leafy green medicinal herbs, and him showing me this one, and I had never heard it yet. And my mind was blown when I heard Hole in the Sky. And just sitting there and listening to the entire record until, am I going insane? I gotta agree with Richard. I think it's the absolute worst Sabbath song with Ozzy on vocals, and it's just not a good fucking song. It just annoys the shit out of me. I never skip past it because the rest of the album is so good. I just let it play. But every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh, here it is again. It just annoys me. But the rest of this album is so good. This is an album the rest of us were talking on the last episode about ripping off Columbia House and BMG. This is an album that I ripped off Columbia House with a box of CDs. I think I sent the name was Perry King instead of Kerry King from Sleep, and got a box of CDs, and this was in it, and boy, did I ever play the death out of it. And it's over the years, it's become a Sabbath album that's worked its way to the bottom of the pile for me for some reason. I can't explain it because, like I said, listening to it the past couple weeks, I've realized, like, wow, this is really a killer album.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with Chris Aloe because Stephen, you and I both love Never Say Die.
Fuck yeah.
And I think Never Say Die is a better album than this, personally.
You think Never Say Die is a better album than Sabotage?
Absolutely. Never Say Die.
That's a bold statement there.
Smoking too much leafy green.
No, not enough. Never Say Die is a top 3 Sabbath album for me. This one's in the top 10. Yeah, fair enough. I love the Brit. I love the thrill of it all. Is
Oh yeah.
just the riffs are so good in the thrill of it all. That whole
Yeah.
nasty groove with that da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Here we go. We're gonna do the song. Each one of us will go into the square.
it's so good. It's
Beavis
so
and
good.
Butthead.
So, Chris,
Megalomania too.
I
Megalomania.
Oh yeah.
gotta never say
Psychedelic.
die. There.
I think we ought to get Chris Aloe drunk one night and do that and have him wake
Yeah.
up with one of those and Pardo.
Pardo
Yeah.
hates it too.
Yeah, Megalomania is so psychedelic. There's a lot of like really cool production stuff going in to that song with like background noises and the laughing and the whole like octave thing with the vocals, the feel it slipping away as Ozzy's doing the highs. So good. And yeah, for me, this album is all about Hole in the Sky because it's the first one I heard and just addicted me, to this one. It's great. It's a top 10. There's albums I like a lot more. It reminds me of being a teenager and hearing it for the first time and playing it over and over and over and over and over. Just a great record, man. Fucking fantastic. I love the cover too. I love Ozzy in the kimono. I think it looks cool. I like Bill Ward in the weird red pants. I like Tony Iommi sitting Indian style and just looking away. It's just fucking cool. Great album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it means to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A goddamn record.
Yeah. Yeah, Geezer looks like he's in a 1975 Sears catalog.
He does. He almost looks like he's going to solve a crime with like the cane in his hand. Yeah, it's cool.
Ow!
All right. Thank you, James. I think we're going to transport ourselves from Connecticut to Norway. We're going to Norway to see Obie with a Viking knowledge of the Sabotage record. How's that?
Yeah, well, I heard Symptom of the Universe first with Sepultura, so that was my kind of why I get me into that album, and of course Pantera covered "Hole in the Sky." So
yeah,
I heard those two songs before I heard the album itself, and it's quite different from the album. So it was really interesting to go back to. I gotta admit, first time I heard it, it didn't appeal to me that much because it was so different from Master Reality and Volume 4 and Paranoid and so forth. So for me, it took a little time to digest it, and I guess with age, get a little more mature, like to appreciate everything that's going on in the album. Because it's so different. I also think that this album can't be topped. So no matter what they have done after this album, it couldn't. I guess no matter what they have done, it wouldn't have topped this album. So because I understood it as history has it, they just want to make a good rock album, but with the legal stuff, it was impossible. So they put on a lot of fire, a lot of other stuff because it's the only album that's made with lawyers in the sound booth, or was it? It took like 1 year to produce almost. I've read, but yeah, so for the songs, Megalomania is my favorite Sabbath song of all times. Sabotage has become my favorite album of Sabbath of all time because it's no album that sounds like it from Sabbath. You can draw parallels on other albums much more, I feel, than this album because it kind of sticks out so fast like a sore thumb for them, I guess, because they couldn't do what they wanted to do in the studio and they had to put on like I read that Ozzy went into the studio when the choir from London was in there, and he thought he'd gone to the wrong studio, so he just left.
Yeah.
And they were putting Superstar. Also, like I believe the riff is the first song that Ozzy like have the lyrics for in the up to then with Sabbath, because Geezer had done all the lyrical stuff up to then, but the riff is him. So I think probably that's why Ozzy sings so good on that song, because he wrote it, so
Yeah.
he has so much emotion to it. It's like it sounds like he's about to have a mental breakdown, and as I understand, he hates to be in the studio more than 2-3 weeks. Like, just get it done and go up on tour. And to be stuck in studio for a year, that can make anybody go insane. As for am I going insane? Radio. Yeah, a lot of people thought it was a single because of the radio ad at the end, but as I've read, the radio means it's a kind of a slang to mental. So it's not radio. It's like a slang for like going mental, which adds to the song "Am I Going Insane?" A superstar for me, I wish it was a little longer. I feel that superstar had potential to have a middle part and kind of like just. I feel like they could build more on it, but at the same time they were pissed and wanted to get out of the studio. As for the song you're talking about with the funky outro. The funky outro is just an open jam that they taped and they just put at the
Yeah.
end of the song. It doesn't really have anything to do with the song, so that's why it's. And Don't Start Too Late is kind of a fun thing from the guys in the sound booth, because Sabbath always started to play before they hit the record button, so it's kind of a fun thing there. As for the artwork, I believe the original artwork was supposed to be them all having in black suits, all supposed to be dressed in black, and it was supposed to be deeper and stuff. So they were told while doing this artwork there that it was just a rehearsal and was
Yeah.
like just to get a image of the cover, and that's why they have such a different style of clothing on. But they end up using that as the cover, but that was before the band knew that they were doing it. So in fact, the cover too is sabotaged for them. So
Yes,
there's a
you're right. Yeah, that was in that. That was in that little documentary we watched too, right, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like I would so wish that if you could see the like the artwork as it was supposed to be with the old dressed in blacks. It was just I wonder how it would have been look, because Sabbath Blue Sabbath is such a cool artwork. So it's like yeah.
Give it time. Somebody will AI it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
AI, isn't it awful?
Oh no.
You can't even watch. You're looking at like social media now. You don't know what anything is real and what's not anymore. It's like going crazy. It's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Obie. Were you anything else you wanted to add?
Not on this round.
Thank you so much, Obie. And I hate to make anybody go last, but boy, it's tough. Count's going to be mad at me, or Ed might be mad at me, or Tony Dio might be mad at me. We'll pull one from the hat. How about we go to Ed Farsley next? We go to Count Ralphus, and since his last name is Dio, we're gonna have him go last because Ozzy would be upset and Dio would be upset and might quit the band.
Right. That's right.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so I mean, we all agree this is almost all of us agree this is a fantastic album. Definitely one of the best. I would say in ranking, I'd say probably number 4 for me.
Okay.
Again, that opinion could change week to week, as we all know. Sabbath is a fucking great band. I didn't get this album when it first came out. I was only 6 years old. So it was a couple more years before I started discovering Sabbath, the Iron Man, Paranoid, stuff like that on the radio. And Paranoid is my first Sabbath album that I bought. So I didn't get the album until, a few years later or something when I started building my Sabbath collection. Definitely. I mean, back then I was into metal, hard rock metal. That was it. Not really into prog rock. So when I first got this album, I liked it. Some of the songs, Hole in the Sky, Megalomaniac, Symptom of the Universe, of course, fantastic songs. But more of the prog elements I didn't really get into. So I put this album on the back burner myself as a kid. Loved some of the album, not really into it. Then as I got a little older, I discovered more prog rock and just absolutely fell in love with prog metal, prog rock. Pink Floyd's my all-time favorite band. So then this album really started to grow on me. Really appreciated it more. Love the metal aspect of it. Love the prog aspect of it. Love the anger aspect of it as well. Didn't know, of course, years ago, the history and why they would sound that way. It sounded more angry. And I just fell in love with the album. Listened to it constantly since then. Symptom of the Universe, one of my all-time favorite Sabbath songs, no doubt about it. Megalomaniac, again, one of the great songs. Am I going insane? I like the song. I don't mind it. I think Ozzy's got a great vocal line in it. Not one of the greatest songs, of course, but I have no problem with listening to it. Just a great fucking record. What can I say here? Yeah, I mean, basically, no filler material whatsoever. I mean, it's funny when I first started listening to the album, I wasn't into the prog, didn't really know the history, and so I felt like, they're just adding all this instrumental stuff, all the sound effects, just kind of filler material. Then as I got older, appreciate the album, and especially now, it's just a brilliant record. It flows. The up, the speed, the mellow, the psychedelic, everything flows, and it's just a brilliant fucking record. It's definitely one of the most unique Black Sabbath albums by far, as most of us have said. And like I said, my fourth favorite, sometimes my third favorite. Definitely a great record, and I don't skip any songs on it. I like it all.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't hate that song either. And when I was a kid, I used to like that screaming at the end of it. Like crazy yelling. But anyhow, Megalomaniac is such a great fucking record. I think I don't skip anything on it, but cool. We're going over to Count Ralphus, who has the proper t-shirt on. And before I go to Count Ralphus, Ed, that t-shirt you got on is that poster behind me.
I used to have that black light poster as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't anymore, unfortunately. I don't know what happened to it, but I used to have it.
And so the shirt you got up, could you just stand up a little bit so we can see the whole thing? Because that has the 666 on it.
Yep. There we go.
And of course, Rock Fantasy kind of took that design and made a Rock Fantasy shirt.
They did.
It's probably my favorite Rock Fantasy shirt. And I tell you, we used to sell these posters back in the day. Then they reissued it for a little while.
Oh, really?
And of course, you can't get them. They go for hundreds of dollars now.
Oh, yeah, now, yeah.
Any of those cool old black light posters.
Yep. I still got my wall black light poster, at least.
So you owned the black light poster at one time.
Yep. Yeah, when I was a kid, I had that poster.
Who else in this room had that same poster on their wall as a teenager?
I have a lighter of it. A lighter.
You had the lighter.
Oh, wow.
Tom, you didn't have that black light poster back in the day? No? Okay.
Wow.
Desco didn't have it either, huh?
I only had a couple of black light posters.
What's that, Steve?
I have the Dio monster.
Oh yeah, I had the Dio. I have that one hung up in Rock Fantasy back in the black light museum room. I have the Holy Diver one.
Yep.
Cool. All right, go ahead, Count.
All right, so so much stuff's been said already about this album. Going from like what Chris Aloe was saying, this was the end of an era. I totally agree. Those first 6 albums, I always say, are probably the best 6 album run by any band. I would put it up against any band 6 albums in a row. I always, and like Denny said, like, one year I like Volume 4 probably for like 5 years as my number one, Ozzy, Sabbath, and then it switches around, and Sabotage and Master Reality. Those 3 were the 3 that always switched around for me. I go with Master Reality as my favorite, but it could switch like anytime, So that's where I rank it in my top 3 albums for the Ozzy Sabbath. And going about this artwork, I hate this artwork. I got my original album. The whole story about it and everything. At least if like Bill Ward was the one sitting down. Like, since he's the drummer, he should have been the one sitting down. It probably wouldn't have looked as bad. You just would have seen red pants. It wouldn't have looked as bad. But it's a great it was a great idea, and the whole concept with the image reflecting the back of them like that on the back and the front. But damn, just if he just sat down, it would have been better. But how pissed would you have been if you worked on an album for a year and then you go for a test shot and that ends up being the album cover? Like, I've been so mad.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's why they got Sabotage on the album cover along with their.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a black magic marker and color it all in red. I mean black. But yeah, I got the big box set.
Yeah.
This thing was great, and I got this vintage old cassette. It's like a old black one of those old black ones.
Nice.
And I got a fucking 8-track. My only black, my only Black Sabbath 8-track that I have is this one, Sabotage.
And that doesn't
No
have
picture on it.
that doesn't even show.
It doesn't have. No, it just
Those
has all
were
the
the-
songs.
Those were the 8 tracks that used to come in the boxes were printed, and
Yes,
they would
you're
go.
right.
And so
Yeah,
most people threw the boxes away, so you can't find them.
Yeah.
I got, of course, the CD. And Martin Popoff, he put out a book of Sabbath in the 70s called Sabotage.
Yeah, I have that book too. Yeah.
He just did a thing this week about he ranked all the album's production. He did every Sabbath album, Tony Martin years, everything, and it was pretty interesting. Some of it I agreed with, some of it I thought was kind of crazy, but
yeah, he had Forbidden way up.
Yeah,
Like,
and he had 13 way up, but his number one was Technical Ecstasy, which I thought was crazy. But he had I think Sabotage was number 3 and Mob Rules was number 2 for him. But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. But when you go down to production, everybody hears production different. It's just whatever hits your ears. But yeah, you guys all talked about all the songs. I think the Rit is the reason why, like, Ozzy's voice is so incredible in that, and he sounds so pissed and angry. So everybody says like the album's pissed and angry, but really, Thrill of It All is kind of like a happy song to me. And Am I Going Insane is definitely a happy song. But I feel the same way. Like, when I was a kid, I liked that because I thought it was so different and weird. But it become like Changes, where it's like the one song, like, you don't really need to hear that one again. It just, it does kind of ruin it. I think it keeps it from not being my number 1 album, but then again, Changes is on my number 1 album. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. Everybody's talked about everything.
It's hard to hate any of these albums.
Yeah.
Like, you can say that, like,
Great
Technical Ecstasy is one of the weaker albums, or Never Say Die, but like John McAtee, when we were doing this a couple of years ago, we were talking, like, I really do reach down and go to Never Say Die and Technical Ecstasy a lot. Maybe because it's like the songs you don't hear as much, but I still listen to them.
Sure, yeah.
But I mean, putting this album on, like, I know every inch of this record. Not that I don't know every inch of all the other ones. And yeah, it's a great episode to be touching base on this. And could have done it in July though, since it was a week, but we're doing a little early. But got a good crew together.
In the US press have the outro on the Rit.
What's that?
Do you guys know the US press of the vinyl? Do you have the outro on the
Blow on a Jug?
Blow the Jug. That's the best song. Yeah, that's my favorite song. I forgot to mention that one.
No, it's not.
It's the best song. It's the most proggy thing they ever did.
It's on one of the versions that I have. I can't remember if it's on the vinyl, if it's on the. I got 2 CDs. I got 2 different CD versions.
I don't think it's on the album I was listening to at work, which was a Rhino pressing.
Right.
Yeah.
But Europe it was.
It's not on the 8-track. Just check.
No. All right, Tony Dio, let's bring us down the home stretch here. Sorry to make you wait forever.
No, that's all cool. Yeah, this is my favorite Black Sabbath featuring Ozzy Osbourne record for sure. And it used to kind of much like Ralph, mine was volume 4 for a long time, but this one surpassed it over the years. I think I remember this was probably about the 4th Black Sabbath tape, when I was mostly buying tapes when I was a teenager. I first heard Symptom of the Universe on Speak of the Devil from Ozzy, and I always loved that song. So there was I remember there were the in the cheap bins at the record stores and the discount, like the 5 and dime discount stores. They always had those cheap Black Sabbath tapes. They were on the NEMS label.
Yeah.
They were cheap. They were like $4 or something, you know. So I remember buying Sabotage and just like looking at this cover and going, you know, like that's just crazy looking, you know, not really knowing what to expect, but it's got Symptom of the Universe on it, so it's going to be good, you know. And I fell in love with it, man. I mean, Hole in the Sky is just, I love that. It's just such a heavy track, and I mean, like I said, Symptoms great, Megalomania, just love the way that is. I think it could use more cowbell in Megalomania.
Somebody had to say that.
Nobody said it, so I had to say
yeah, nobody said it.
Yeah. Christopher Walken called and he said that Megalomania needs more cowbell. But I always loved Thrill of It All. That was like one of my favorites on here too. That's just a really cool song. And they're going insane. I mean, it's never really bothered me. It's not a favorite, but I mean, the Writ is just so heavy, just such a great tune. And Superstar went on to be their intro music there for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. Richard, did they use it? I know they used it on the Born Again tour. Did they use it did they use it on Eternal Idol too? I mean, Seventh Star.
Whipping that out the song.
Yeah.
It's pure intro.
Yes.
Yeah. It's perfect to use.
I believe they used that on the Heaven and Hell tour.
Yeah, they did. Because on the I know on the beginning of Black and Blue movie, that's what the credits are rolling to.
I was at the Black and Blue tour at the Lebanon Valley Speedway up in just east of Albany. And I was at that show, and we all thought that Black Sabbath was the headliner that night. And then we're out in the parking lot. This is a crazy show. It's one of the things that I still don't like. Did this really happen? Shit that went on. There were people that had cars pushed down into a like pit, and they had like lighting up on it, and people were throwing rocks at them and everything else. But we got there. We were all young kids, of course. I was with ex-girlfriend. I was with a good friend of mine. People were walking around on broken glass, wondering why they were cut, tripping on acid. It was Hell's Angels were the security. But anyhow, all of a sudden we're in the parking lot and we hear the Sabbath intro music. And we're like, oh shit, Black Sabbath is going on first. We thought that Blue Oyster Cult was going to be the band that warmed up. I don't know if that flip-flopped around. But
they did.
Yeah.
And I still remember a guy walking through the crowd with a cross that was on fire, like coming through the crowd. This was shit was crazier back in like 79, 80. Like, it was like,
everybody was young, everybody was like, probably 25 or under,
And it was also that era of like that Woodstock and all those 70s metal, like classic rock fests, and it was still part of that scene. There was like a lot of hippies and bikers, and it was a whole different time period. But yeah, hearing that song, and you always knew it's like, oh shit, Sabbath's coming on, and we're out in the fucking parking lot. So we started like booking to get in there. And of course, the surprise was none of, it was Dio singing now too. So it was a whole new ball game back then,
Yeah.
I can remember when Ozzy left and they said, well, they got the guy from Rainbow. And we were all wondering, that's how old I am, all wondering like, how's this going to sound? And, all that.
Sound great.
It did sound great.
Yeah.
But, at the time we were like, well, Rainbow kicked ass with Dio. And that's an episode I want to do. And whether it's next week or in a couple weeks, I want to talk about the first Rainbow album, because that's also
nice
50
50th
years,
anniversary. I thought maybe we'd talk about that, and maybe Scorpions and Trance or something like that. So I'm way off topic now, but
Yeah, cool.
Every Sabbath show that I went to always had Superstar as the intro, and when the lights goes on, they play Fluff.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
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 And I saw I'm such a big Sabbath fan. I saw every vocalist with Sabbath except for Ray Gillen, but I did see them with Glenn Hughes, on which was one of the final nights that he performed on the Seventh Star tour. Ralph was there, right, Ralph? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still look back at that Born Again tour, and they're talking about the Born Again tour album actually finally getting remixed. I see Ian Gillan talking about if it's really happening. That will be cool to hear, but I still love the album exactly the way it is. I think it's one of Sabbath's heaviest and even
Yeah, me too.
No question about it.
Absolutely.
I like the murkiness of it.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
of course, back when that album came out, back then, this is before like Merciful Fate and all that stuff was just kind of starting out. That was an evil T-shirt. Like we bought the T-shirt, and people would like look at you like, "Well, you've got like a devil baby on it."
I had the back
Yeah.
patch, and my dad made me take the back patch off. It was the only thing
Did
he
he?
ever noticed out of all my jackets like that. It was the only thing he ever noticed. It was the baby, but the baby was holding a burning cross, so it was a little bit.
Oh
And it had
wow!
bat
So it
wings.
was it was
Yeah.
I
a
still have it.
bootleg.
I still have it someplace, but it's yeah. My
Yeah.
dad was like, "You ain't fucking going out in public with that."
Hey, we were talking about Ozfest or on that earlier show that we did with Richard and Aloe.
Yeah.
I remember one of the Ozfest. I have a T-shirt from the Ozfest. It was a Black Sabbath Ozfest shirt, and it had the Master Reality logo, but it had the figures from this were on it. I may still have it somewhere. I'm not sure. You guys remember that? That was one of the
Yep.
Ozfest shirts for Sabbath.
So
Yeah.
it was an actual
Yep.
shirt they sold at a booth, but not
They,
a bootleg?
No,
Wow.
it was the actual shirt for the show. It had all the
Mhm.
bands on the back, I believe, but it just had Black Sabbath on the front, and it
That's-
said Black. And it had this picture of the
Mhm.
band, but the
Wow.
logo was the Master Reality logo in purple.
I bought that T-shirt from Spencer Gifts.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I had that fucking T-shirt and wore it to death.
Martin Popoff ranked that Born Again as the 20th, the worst sounding album of all Black Sabbath albums.
I'll produce. I'm going to
Yeah,
disagree.
he had it as the
I'm
worst
gonna
produced
I'm going to put it above
Over Forbidden.
Way above.
Over Forbidden.
And Ed,
Man,
I forgot
the new
that
Forbidden's great.
Maybe you did tell me this, Ed, but how long ago did you get that T-shirt you got on? Is that something you could
It's
find?
not an old shirt. I got this from King Valley like maybe 5-6 years ago. It's a reissue. This shirt is not.
Oh,
old.
wow.
King
I
reprinted.
want that shirt. I gotta get one sometime.
I got this one from King. I don't have the original shirt. I don't even know
King
if
may
I had
still
it.
have some.
You think he does?
He may have some. Well, I ask him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Tony, anything you want to add to wrap this up, or do we get one more? Do we get one more story from Richard to wrap this up, Tony?
Richard's like, I gotta go to bed.
Well,
look, I did when I pulled out Sabotage earlier. You guys may know this, but my Sabbath Bloody Sabbath fell out, and album cover screw ups that I don't know if you guys noticed this. Still, it has these little loops around it.
Yeah.
The original artwork from Pacific Pioneer had Black Sabbath, and it was like these frilly, not to use a slur, frilly text.
It was ribbony looking.
Yeah, and it came from Black, and it darted down, and then darted back up Sabbath. And they said no, they want Black Sabbath at the bottom, and they fixed it. But if you look, that loop is from the original Black Sabbath logo that the band said they didn't want to use. And I know it's unrelated to Sabotage, but it fell out like a possessed record wanting to be noticed. So
hey, we're talking Sabotage, but we're talking Black Sabbath, and of course, big in the news and about a month from tomorrow will be the Back to the Beginning show in Birmingham, England, and of course, I have some friends that are going. I spoke with on the last episode. We were talking about a good friend of mine and one of my ex employees, Heather and John, bought the $7,000 side stage tickets for this.
Wow.
So and his wife is also going, and my good friend Keith Celentano, a rock photographer, he's going over. So I'm hoping that I really would love them to do a pay-per-view or some kind of a stream so we could all watch it, and maybe we could all get together and have a party, even though some of it will be in the morning, but it would be cool.
Yeah, how is there no streaming thing? There's like all these big celebrity singers and all that stuff. There's like Metallica and Ghost.
And I mean, this is all for charity or whatever. And like,
Aloe was saying earlier, give it a few weeks. They'll probably do it in a few weeks.
And I tell you, like not part of them, Aloe was talking usually about a month out is when they start announcing like the pro wrestling ones or stuff. So maybe we'll hear something, but I'm sure if they think they can make money,
they got it.
It isn't like you can sell a DVD like you used to be able to.
Yeah, no, that's why they're not going to record it and put it out in DVD. They got to put it live. They got to stream it.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be fucking taping it that night anyway, so they might as well.
Oh yeah, now we're going to be watching it on the YouTube feeds and whatever.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Ghost and they lock your camera up.
How many songs is he playing? It like is it going to be depressing?
Yeah, probably.
That's the thing. Well, we were told at first it was a Black Sabbath set, it was an Ozzy set, and now it's going to be. I think, if you ask me,
to make appearances,
it's going to be a giant jam session, and
I
then you've
took
got
a picture
full
with him
bands
a couple years
playing.
ago. I took a photo with him a few years ago in Valley Forge with the wife. My friends chipped in and paid for it. It was like 666 with taxes. It was like 777. But
oh yeah,
he was. The family was sweet, and he looked like ass. And God bless him. But holy shit, I don't know. It's gonna be like Weekend at Bernie's. I just hope it's not sad, man. Because I've seen him a bunch of times. He's been good half the time. You know what I mean? He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, I don't want him to go out like with a whimper. You know what I'm saying? I just hope they respect him. It's not like elderly abuse, like fucking Sharon's trotting the fuck out. I don't want to bum anyone out, but it's like, damn.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I hope he fucking steps up and he's really good, man. Because I've seen him be awesome.
Stephen, we were talking in the last episode. Richard was there because he was working with them. Were you at the Camden show with the Ozfest when Rob Halford performed? You were there?
No, I was at one of the last Zach Wild and Ozzy ones, and he was tuned down like 3 steps, if there's such a thing. But it was he was decent though. Ozzy was performing well.
I saw that last tour. The last time I ever saw Ozzy, Stone Sour was opening up, and it was at the PNC.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was there.
That was decent. I mean, like you just want to see the guy go out strong. You know what I mean? It's like I hope they frame it right. Not to be a dick. I just hope it's not Weekend at Bernie's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they got put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he just sat there that night with Jack next to him, and I was wondering, like, he couldn't do a chorus, but this is more like a celebration. This is definitely like a celebration of life, I think.
Yeah, Jello Roll was rough on that one. I felt bad for him. That was a little rough sledding for him, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Scoob.
My question, I was saying we could almost do an episode like what Sabbath or Ozzy song is Steven Tyler gonna do? What song is Papa from Ghost gonna do? Which one is Jonathan Davis gonna do? They've got all these guest vocals. Then you've got full bands. There's Metallica's there, Pantera's there. I think Mastodon's there, Tool's there, Guns N' Roses is there, right? Slayer.
Zach Sabbath is fucking awesome, man. That guy can play that shit. He's born to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
That band's good as shit, man. That short little bass player they got. I don't know the names. I just go to shows.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome at the Queen Theater.
John DeServio.
Anyhow, I guess
smart dude from the panel. Yeah.
I guess that about wraps up this episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. I want the viewers that are watching to please take a minute to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It means a lot to us for you guys that are watching. It means a lot to us when we were at a show or something and you walk up and it's like, hey, that's the guy who was on Rock Fantasy Files. Or, it's nice to be part of this. And I haven't been on a lot lately, but it's good to be back. And it's great that James keeps it alive when I'm not here. Or Danny keeps it alive when Danny's not traveling the world. And Obie last week I didn't think we could do anything, and these guys were so upset that I wasn't able to do something. They put together an episode, so it was cool.
And it was cool, man.
I was still recovering from MDF, and I wanted Richard and Chris to be on, and then it worked out tonight because Chris and Richard filmed an episode before, and Chris is probably watching pro wrestling now. He couldn't. Anyhow, so thank you all for watching the Rock Fantasy Files. Mention your favorite moments from Sabotage, or some of you guys got to see the tour that are watching. Please put it in the comments, and we will see you next time on the Rock Fantasy YouTube channel. We'll be back.